how do Trump's ongoing attacks on media, for example, shape economic and market perceptions?
It's very challenging, I think, for people because they get the impression that you cannot have much dissent because if you have dissent, there's the possibility of lawsuits and other repercussions because of that. So it is putting a dampener on the media and the press in the United States.
And Anthony, what does his public feud with Fed Chair Jerome Powell mean for central bank independence and the functioning, the normal functioning of the economy?
Well, we know that if you don't have an independent Federal Reserve, I wrote an article on this topic on Substack. Historically, the economy grows by a smaller amount. We also have higher levels of inflation, and we also have higher interest rates. So ironically, even though the president wants the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates by as much as 3 percentage points, historically, if you do that and the economy is not in need of interest rates that low, which, by the way, is a crisis interest rate, then long-term interest rates actually will go up, not go down. And that could be a problem not only for mortgage rates, but for other people that are borrowing money. So it is a huge challenge out there. And again, to argue that somehow this Fed chair is not doing a good job, I did another article looking at the performance of the last Federal Reserve chairs. And what I find is that if you look at the term premium, that is a difference between long-term rates and short-term rates, like the Fed funds rate, how much are investors demanding in addition to those short-term interest rates. Fed Chair Powell actually comes in first place in terms of having the lowest term premium. Where he doesn't come in first place is looking at the deviation of inflation from its 2% target. There he comes in fourth place. Janet Yellen, of course, comes in first. But I don't think the president really gives much credit to Janet Yellen either. So bottom line, this Fed chair is not doing such a bad job with regard to how the bond market perceives this Fed chair, or even by his inflation performance, which has averaged about 1% above the 2% target. And that's after adjusting for the huge increase during the global pandemic.
And Anthony, let's switch gears a bit. How should we read the Columbia University funding dispute? Political messaging or policy shift?
Well, there's no question that there is political messaging there, and the university did what they had to do. They basically gave in. They're going to get federal funding coming back, and they will pay some fines. But if you look at the amount of federal funding that Columbia University is going to be receiving, it's about 5.8 times the amount that they're paying in the fine. So on an economic basis, I think Columbia University had no choice but to compromise and give in without admitting guilt. But the real loss is academic freedom, because now many of the freedoms that the university had are simply going to disappear as they enter this agreement. So that's unfortunate for the university, but from a financial perspective, they did okay.
Must-read Substacker Anthony Chan, thank you so much. Great having you.